At 20 minutes, it does 20 minutes. All right, so you were just saying it flows out. So these things, so again, well, we got just about all of it. So it's a question of, with a board, you were saying with the board on one of these new systems.
Are you filming again?
Yeah, we're filming again. We lose one, you lose an LED, you have to replace the entire board, so you're talking a couple $100. So there's no way of just, this, it's not just there's no way you can
all this stuff is surface mount. Possibly with the right equipment, somebody could order it in, especially 5 or 10 years from now. Remember, right now this stuff is new. New technology seems to hold up well after the first day or two. So if the thing survives, you take it out of the box, you set up and plug it in and turn it on, and it works for 1 or 2 days, it's probably going to be fine until it finally does take a dump. But when it takes a dump, that's it. There's no fixing it. Because to fix it will end up costing more than it would be if you replaced the whole element. So in the case of a pinball machine, if you can't fix the board, you have to buy another one.
And the one advantage being that presumably people don't leave them on 24/7 in their house because of the electrical call. But I mean, you never know with some people.
No matter what somebody tells you, it's always best to turn electronics off when you're not using it. Just turn it off. Some people say, oh, it takes 2 minutes to warm up and 2 minutes to load. You take it with a go. But if your machine is off, you have less chance of a future breakdown, for sure. As the game isn't accumulating hours of play. Capacitors aren't heating up so tight that they start to expand prematurely. Nintendo had a Sanyo monitor in all their Donkey Kongs. Every one. Sanyo monitors were extremely well built. They had one serious flaw. In the high voltage section, there is a capacitor that is right next, it's soldered to the board, it's right next to a wire-wound resistor. Resistor gets red hot, the capacitor starts to dry out prematurely. So, 1981, the Donkey Kong came out, and 6 months, 8 months later, after being on for 8 hours a day, the picture started to shrink on the top.
I've seen that.
Normally, it wouldn't hurt anything because you're just losing a little data. But in the case of Donkey Kong, you're losing the scores. I don't know how to play it. Now, in the case of Donkey Kong, the monitor is actually sideways. Popeye had the monitor horizontally and cut the scores out. But on Donkey Kong, the monitor is sideways, the tube's sideways. The picture starts to squeeze at the top on the left side, actually. So it starts to move in, and sure enough, you can't see the score anymore. And the longer you have it on, the tinier the picture gets. This side stays fine, but the picture starts to do this and collapse until you change that capacitor. The capacitor was once again gets red hot because it's right next to that wire-wound resistor. Now we had so many of these Donkey Kongs out, we figured out that we could change the capacitor without even taking the chassis out. We'd undo a couple screws, we'd prop up the chassis, slide something under to keep the circuit board away from the metal frame, unsolder right there and then and there the little capacitor. You could see the ends of it were all bulging out. Pop in a new capacitor, resolder it, close it up, and change the capacitor in 5 minutes. Picture solved. No more squeezed on the side of its Donkey Kong or on the top of its Popeye. The picture's beautiful again, and will probably be fine for 10, 15 more years. We only changed one cap. But that was the failing point of the Sanyos. Terrific monitor other than that. Now, once I've changed the capacitor, I never ever had to change it again because it wasn't on for 24 hours a day in the laundromat, hot laundromat, cooking. It's in some lady's basement. She turns it on once a month, twice a month, who knows. Never going to go bad again, never. Well,
so
I think there was a title of a James Bond movie, Never Say Never.
Never Again, the remake of Thunderball.
Yes.
Okay, I know you have your seminar to do tomorrow, so I'm gonna let you go.
I'm winding down, as you can see.
All my cameras are winding down. They just can't handle. You're such a dynamic, magnetic personality. It just sucks all the life out of my camera.
What you have to do is I need you to spin Mr. Camera so we can see the young man that very cleverly, there we are, asked the cocktails question.
Yes, well, he's a clever young man, and he's the reason why we started going to Pintastic, and we started doing pinball things together.
Yeah, we started 10 years ago.
10 years ago was the first convention we went to.
Rochester show. Ooh, it was great, but
we had a fun time. Played that 2-player soccer pinball game.
No, Challenger.
The Challenger.
Challenger. I just watched somebody play Challenger at the Chicago Pinball Museum. I have a video up on YouTube. I just did it. We did a walkthrough.
I'll have to watch it.
It's really fun. About 2 hours long. Maybe it's longer. Something like that.
Okay.
I have so many videos, I never know what's coming up.
Okay, last question then.
Yes.
If there's one piece of advice you could give to either the arcade owner or pinball or bowling place that still has the pinball machine in their place, and to the homeowner, and these advice might be different, obviously, what would that advice be in terms of keeping that machine going so they don't have to give you a call?
The best, this is really true. Some people experimented with it after I mentioned it. We've discovered that Lemon Pledge or Behold Furniture Polish is a wonderful, easy way to keep your pinball machine shiny, super fast, and clean. It's hard to believe, isn't it? Especially when it has lemon in it. Slide the glass off, get some Lemon Pledge, squirt it on the playfield or squirt it on a cotton towel, wipe the machine down. Dirt will fly off of it, and you'll have this nice shine. As a matter of fact, if you take the t-shirt, rub it around, the thing will like...
How often do something like that?
At least once a month. Assuming you play it, let's say 2 hours a week, about every 7 or 8 hours. Keep the playfield nice. You can also use the same stuff to wipe off the rubbers, because the ball degenerates and leaves trails and dirties the rubbers. But I remember people say, "What?" And then they tried it and say, "Yeah, that Lemon Pledge works great." So, of course, you can pretty much use anything, I suppose, but just stick with the brand name. You know what? Everybody wanted me to try this glass cleaner, that glass cleaner, this glass cleaner. No, I did. Windex. So, I'm done. I'm not making any more decisions. I buy Windex, concentrated. We have a machine that mixes it. We go through boatloads of Windex.
I imagine so, with all that glass and such.
Simple Green. Perfect stuff to clean, deep clean the cabinets, soak the pinball posts. Simple Green. Easy to buy quantities. That's your best bet. Keep playfield parts clean that way. The next thing every person on earth should learn how to do is solder. Learn how to solder. And if you're selling lots of pinball machines, you buy silver solder or lead-free solder. If you're doing a lot of soldering, do not keep using resin core. Oh, no, resin core, no. Now, lead-free, you're not breathing in all that crap. My guys at the shop are reheating boards for 2-3 hours on end. Every day. Stuff's just coming right up in your nostrils, the lead, forget it. Cost you more money, yes. Lead-free solder is sometimes 3 times as much as regular. But that's what you do. You keep things safe. If you're not doing that much soldering, it's okay. But remember, cold solder joints are the #1 issue with pinball machines, followed by capacitors, leaky capacitors. So cold solder joints will do a million different problems with your game. Now in the case of Gottlieb, rotten grounds. do all my ground mods, you'll be fine. Games will never go bad again. Never. I'm telling. Now listen, I've sold thousands of machines. It's not like I've only sold a few. I sold 120 F-14 Tomcats, used. These aren't new, used. Sold tons of games. So I know what I'm talking about. We get very few callbacks. Our service list out of 14, we're up to 27,000 machines or something. I had maybe 8 or 9 service calls on the list, and several of them aren't even my games. So if you do the preventive maintenance like that, it really works wonders.
All right, well, Todd, thank you so much for your time. You've given us a lot of time.
To keep my eyes open.
You've given us a lot of time and put up with a lot of failing batteries.
And it's late.
And it's very late.
11:25.
It's 11:25. Your seminar is in 10 hours, and I haven't slept. And we have a 24/7 pass to
But we're having a
use
great
up.
time here. Now, can you just show everybody how the gazebos are here?
I mean, the gazebo is beautiful. This is where wedding things are. This is the reason why people aren't in presidential suites, because there's so many weddings in this place.
There's actually still a wedding set up right out there.
Yeah, there's a wedding set up out there, because this is really beautiful. This is a place where they have a lot of weddings.
It's not expensive. It's a little rundown, just a little, but the rooms are cheap. They are cheap, and the most important thing is they're nice and cold. Boy, was it hot today!
Oh, it's been a little bit of a heat wave.
So and the food is good, the service is good.
My only worry is that they're going to outgrow it, and then where will they go? Because this is the fourth. This is the 4th year, and it's grown, and we're seeing more and more women and children, as I mentioned earlier.
Well, the women and children. Well, actually, the children are in the future. I remember a man he still collects old radios with the tubes, big console radios. And he was at one of the shows, and there's fewer and fewer people going to the shows. And somebody said to him, he says, "You know what? Old radio collecting, it's an old man's hobby. And the old men are dying."
Because the old men remember the old radio.
And young people will buy one of these antique radios, doesn't even have to work, just to put up on the shelf. It's like an Art Deco thing. That's it. They'll never even turn it on. So that's about the only growth there may be. Some old-fashioned radio. Maybe if you have a hotel chain, you put one old radio in every room. Who knows?
Play old-fashioned Sherlock Holmes.
It's a hobby that's dying. Radio collecting's dying. Now, pinball? I don't think it's dying, but I think it's getting outpriced. I mean, the prices have gone crazy. Used machines. But there's a niche. There's a group of people out there that want pinball machines. They want the right one. So I see it continuing as long as the kids have the interest. If you teach a child, if you take the glass off your pinball machine and show any child, little one, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, whatever, how to play it with your finger, not with the flippers. Say, look, this is the ball, and I hit this switch and that. It makes it really fun. The kids understand it. They say, hey, somebody spent a lot of time writing a book. I used to always think of newer pinball machines are like buying a 1,000-page novel. Older pinball machines, the novel's thinner. The very first games like Genie and Cleopatra, they were only about that thick in terms of programming. We've come a long way, but even the simplest games are fun. If the kids learn how to play it, how to enjoy it, it goes up to there. That's our next generation.
And on the off chance that someone watching this does not know where to find you or your videos online, where should they go?
YouTube, TNT Amusements. My Facebook page, TNT Amusements Inc. Because there's another TNT Amusements. Actually, there's several of them. We're the ones in Southampton, PA. So in most cases, if you do a Google search, we'll be in 3 or 4 places. If you type in TNT Amusements, out of the 10 spaces, we'll have 3 or 4 of them occupied. So it's easy to find me.
All right. Well, Todd, thank you again for all your time, and we will look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Good night.
Good night.